Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August 8th episode of the Women in Product Toastmasters Club. I'm your Sergeant at Arms, Amy Kirkland, and today our theme is personal brand. Our personal brands are the perceptions each of us gives to the world around us. It's an important part of our career growth and development. Today, we're going to learn more about our personal brands. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our president, Erica Tamburo.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everybody. Happy, beautiful Sunday, wherever you're at across the globe. Really excited for today's meeting. Personal brand is, I don't know, super fun. So I hope everybody enjoys today. Real quickly, I'll go through club business. So since we're starting the month off with personal branding, I thought it would be good to set the monthly theme as visibility. So today we'll talk about personal branding, learn what other people are what their goals are and how they're approaching branding, and hopefully learn some new things and set some goals for ourselves. So my action item for you by the end of this meeting are, what are your personal brand goals? So really quickly for announcements, there'll be a meeting schedule shift due to the holidays that'll be coming up in the fall. So August 8th and 22nd will be our August meetings, and then September we'll do the shift and have meetings on the 12th and the 26th. And then around Mother's Day, we'll shift back and try to avoid all those pesky Sunday holidays. So just be aware and take a look at your calendars. Dues will be due soon, sometime in September. So keep an eye out on an email so that you can renew. Toastmasters International Convention is coming up August 23rd through 28th. You can attend for free, or you can attend with a $25 fee and get access to a little bit more content. And today, following today's meeting, we'll stick around for a short Q&A for anybody who's having any questions, need any pathways or speech help, or any guests that have additional questions. We'll be here. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guests for today. If you don't mind tagging yourself as guests so I can find you a little easy. I get a little lost in all the squares. I saw, let's see, Sharisha. Am I saying that correctly? I hope so. Would you like to say hi? Share how you found us and how you're hoping that Toastmasters can help with your personal brand.
Sure. Sorry, I should have. Okay. Yeah, I put it as guest. Good morning, everyone. I found this group. I went to this Women in Tech Summit last month, and then I found this. Someone suggested that there is a Toastmasters club especially for product management. So that is how I found, and then that's I'm trying to still get into transferring my Toastmaster membership. But once I'm trying to get into becoming a member here.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks for being here. Meghana.
Yes, you got it. Hi, everyone. My name is Meghna. I am an associate product manager right now at WIP Technologies in the San Francisco Bay Area. I found this club through Women in Product Summit, and I was looking to, network with other women who are in the same field, or, wanting to be in the same field, and like share thoughts and experiences and build that confidence. I'm basically surrounded by really strong-willed and strong-minded men around me in my workplace, and I'm looking to build that confidence, and that's my reason for joining this club. Well, I'm glad I found you guys.
I'm glad you found us too. Hope you have fun today. I see Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I actually joined as a guest, I think back in May, but then I had a big move and everything, so I haven't been able to return to the club, but thanks for having me back today as a guest. I'm actually a software engineer and sort of a hybrid role, software engineer, but I do quite a bit of product management work as well in health tech. So yeah, my main reason for wanting to join the club is just to improve my public speaking skills, meet other inspiring people in product, yeah, share thoughts and ideas, and yeah, go from there. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us again. Hope the move went well and you're getting settled in.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see, do we have any other guests that I have missed today? Go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello. We do have a new member in process, Richu.
Hi again, I should say. I did join the team 2 weeks ago and I'm back, and I'm officially hoping to be a member as of today or tomorrow. So I will be joining the team every 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to many more Toastmaster events. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Am I missing any other new members or guests? All right. Well, without further ado, I will introduce our Toastmaster for the Mostest today, and that is Ashley Lawson. Ashley is from Austin, Texas. She is a product manager in the making. Currently, she is a product specialist with Keller Williams. And as a product specialist, Ashley helps product managers, support teams, and developers identify and implement product enhancements to enable real estate leverage KW Tech in their day-to-day business. Outside of work, she enjoys reading, learning, coding, and coffee. Well, take it away, Ashley.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, good morning, fellow members and guests. My name is Ashley Lawson, and I'm thrilled to be your Toastmaster for today's theme on personal brand. I know that's a big, heavy, weighty subject, but I feel like today's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to hear a lot of great speeches, which will make it a little bit easier and digestible for all of us to learn about personal brand. But ultimately, that definition to me means that it's 100% about you and establishing a public persona that communicates your purpose, values, and goals to everyone at large. And really quickly here, I do want to share my thoughts on just kind of personal brand. And I was watching Queer Eye on Netflix, and I began to realize that they had a pattern throughout every single episode in the show. And this is while I was kind of redefining my own brand and making a career change. And so it was very inspirational just to have something that's a little bit easier and digestible. But ultimately, these gentlemen are, tackling 5 different facets of our lives to a certain degree. You have someone who's looking at grooming, someone who's focusing on the environment, kind of just your space that you're in, mentality, food, and clothing. And I noticed that they began to interview each person and kind of really diagnose and assess what exactly kind of was their essence and what things they were doing day in and day out, or really understanding what was holding them back from being their own beautiful, confident self. And in that whole process, they really discovered the bedrock of their brand. And because they did that and took the time to really work and develop those individuals, it actually boosted their confidence. And by having their confidence boosted, they were able to be more authentic and whole and actually really enjoy just being comfortable in their own skin and having a more intense personal brand. And because of that, y'all know me, I'm a resource junkie nerd. So I love books. I absolutely love reading and learning and sharing with other individuals. And I do have a couple of books to share with you guys, and I will drop those in the chat for you to explore a little bit further about your own personal brand and what that looks like for you. But I'm done yapping for now because we have a jam-packed agenda to get through today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from quite a few ladies this morning in regards to our meeting roles for today. And I would love for Tanya to go ahead and kick us off as our general evaluator.
Am I off mute? Yes. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and hello to my fellow Toastmasters and guests. My role today as the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meeting. So during the meeting, I'll be taking notes on things that happen or maybe things that don't happen. And I'll evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of each of the role's duties. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report, and that's about it. So thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tanya. And just to let everyone know, it's not just Tanya. She actually has a few other ladies helping her out today. She has 3 evaluators. That is Svetlana, Sam, and Olena, who's going to be helping her out as well. And right now, I'm hoping, and guys, help me out here if you see her. Let's hear from our grammarian, Melissa.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks, everybody. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, welcome. As grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all of the speakers, listening carefully to the language usage. So I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, thoughts, or sayings. Also, as a grammarian, it's my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. And for today's word, the word is camaraderie, which means mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. Camaraderie is synonymous and used interchangeably with camaraderie, but it's spelled differently and they're 2 different words. So our word is camaraderie. An example of using this word is, as a product manager, it's essential that you learn to build camaraderie and get buy-in amongst cross-functional teams. Each of the speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day, and I'll be giving a grammarian report when called upon during the meeting, and also a report on the usage of the word of the day. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. And we have a few more to go through in terms of meeting roles. Next up, I would like to have Jennifer come on board and give us just a little bit of background on the counter.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So as far as the counter, one of our primary responsibilities for me is to count out filler words, things like that I just said, ers, all of those filler words that kind of get in the way of our public speaking. As we bring awareness to these filler words and how people use them over time, you'll become much more cognizant of that, and that helps us all become better speakers. So I'll be filling out and kind of keeping track of everybody's filler words and provide a report at the end of this meeting, so then we can all be better speakers. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer. I feel like now I'm more conscientious of all of my ahs, ums, and filler words. I think I've gotten most of them out of my system. There still might be a few lingering, but please bear with me all. This is a growth process. Next, we have our timer. That is Sarah Gagnon. Sarah, if you could go ahead and introduce your role for the day.
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. My role today as timer is to help us to, I'm actually building camaraderie with our speakers as far as our prepared speakers, and my job is to time the prepared speeches so that we can begin and end on time. I'm just going to follow the script here for the table topic session. If you're asked to speak, your time limit is no more than 2 minutes. So I will be showing the green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1.5 1 minute and 30 seconds, and the red card at 2 minutes. For the icebreaker speeches, those are 4 to 6 minutes in length, and I believe we have 2 scheduled today. So at 4 minutes, you're going to see the green card. At actually 5 minutes, I'm going to show you the yellow card, and at 6 minutes, the red card. We do have 1 regular speech, I believe, today, 5 to 7 minutes. And so I will be showing the green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card at 7 minutes. We are also, I believe, going to have a mini session after the speakers, just more of a QA, and that can range between 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. I will just give time verbally at that point. So, and I will prepare a report, which I will share with everyone at the conclusion of our meeting. Thank you, Madam Tabletop or Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sarah. You're already doing a beautiful job to start, and I'm sure you're going to ace it today. And next up, we have our vote counter, which is Joyce. If you could go ahead and give us an overview for the vote counter duties, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'm the vote counter, and I'll be counting and announcing the winner for the table topics. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Perfect. Thank you, Joyce. And last but not least, we are going to hear from our table topics master for today, which is also our president, Erica Tamburo.
Hi, so I guess some exciting table topics questions for today, and what table topics are is an opportunity for all of us to practice our impromptu speaking, so nobody knows what the questions are until I ask it. Guests, we invite you to join us when we do our table topics. If you don't feel comfortable doing that today, please send me a little message so that I know not to call on you, but I may. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Erica. I would like to bring Melissa back up to go over the word of the day one more time for us. I've already heard Sarah use it. However, I'm going to challenge everyone on this call to use that word as well. So Melissa, if you don't mind, would you come back up and give us the definition and word of the day one more time?
Sure. The word is camaraderie, and it means mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together, just like all of us every other Sunday, I should say. And the example for using that is, as a product manager, it's essential that you build camaraderie and get buy-in amongst cross-functional teams.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melissa. I personally believe that in repetition, there's learning. So I am challenging, again, all of us to go ahead and use the term camaraderie today throughout answering questions, throughout our speeches. If you guys can do that, hats off. That is difficult to weave that into your speech, but I have the utmost faith that you gals can do it. And without further ado, we are going to go ahead and just get right on into our prepared speeches. And first speaker for the day is Anrisha Ghosh. She is a storyteller that connects and manages leadership with non-technical stakeholders to communicate data-driven insights. And today, Anrisha will be speaking to us about personal brand and how can Women in Product Toastmasters Club help. That is going to be incredibly impactful. And Risha, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Really excited to be speaking to you today. 6 months ago, I'm excited to say that I started my new job as product manager, and I actually manage 2 different products related to productivity. On a daily basis, what I get to do is basically think about what exactly is the vision of these products, where they headed towards. They are in various phases in development. I'm trying to build in new features, for example. I'm trying to grow exactly how they are going to evolve over time and get accepted. But here's the thing. Alongside these 2 products that I am taking care of on a daily basis, I have a product that I have been taking care of since probably the beginning of my career. And you can probably pin it even to middle school when I started to consciously think about it. And that is my personal brand. Hold on, I'm sure you're like, oh, what do you mean by that? And you have all these weird misconceptions that we get from social media when we think about our personal brand. We typically think of it kind of like this false image that we create, this false reality of an ideal self. That is not at all a part of reality. But the fact is, personal brand is much more than that. It is what we carry on a daily basis on our shoulders. It is the total experience that one has when they establish a relationship with us, whether it is on a personal level or it is at a career level. It is basically the identity that we have, the value that we bring to the table, the values or principles that we represent. And the fact is, it starts from the first perception that one has, and it just keeps having new layers added each time we interact with people. It is how our bosses and colleagues perceive us, and it impacts how exactly they interact with us and whether or not we are able to establish camaraderie with them as part of our careers. As product managers and product leaders, we have an especially important impact of personal brands. It's because we influence people indirectly, and if you're lucky enough to climb the ladder, directly. We deal with stakeholders who often depend on our expertise in order to make decisions and help us influence our products and even the strategy of the entire company. We interact with cross-functional teams who depend on our vision to be able to help them go in the direction in which we would like them to go. And unless our personal brand is such that they have that camaraderie and that trust on us, we would not be able to have a common handshake. Similarly, as we grow in our careers, it becomes very, very important to establish our industry image beyond our companies. And often, indirectly, as we become our industry experts, it may even influence how we get our next job that we are excited about. And so a personal brand is very, very important and something that we automatically need to develop. But here's the thing. It's the perception, right? So unless we consciously start to impact on our personal image or personal brand, we end up carrying the burden of what others expect from us. We don't get to put in that authentic self, that authentic signature on it, and we have no control over it. And that is why it's very, very important, even if we haven't thought about it before consciously, to start thinking about what our perception is in our field. We, as women in product Toastmasters, have made that first step where we've recognized that communication is the key step, and we've become part of the WIP Toastmasters Club. And this is where what empowers me is our motto, which is to empower every woman's voice at the table. And what I'm excited to talk to you about today is how our PR strategy is taking that to the next level. What we want to do is help you find your voice and broadcast it so that people in your field get to know about you more. With that, I'm happy to announce that alongside the typical channels of Facebook and YouTube that we exist, we are looking to introduce our newest website where people will get to know not only about our club, but all of us members and what cool things that we do. And alongside that, we want to establish our presence in Clubhouse as well as in LinkedIn. So we are thinking of bringing in 3 different strategies through which you can start creating that voice. First things first, we are pouring our energy on YouTube, on our speeches. What if we customize those speeches so that you can start channeling them and sharing them with people? They contain your signature, your brand in there. We are looking to basically share those links through LinkedIn as well as Facebook so that more people are aware of it. Second of all, after each speech, if we could have a small blurb that we could associate with kind of like a blog-like structure with the speech, we start to introduce you into the written forum. We will start again sharing it through all our media. And with that, you can share it and you can establish your picture. Third of all, the reason why we're thinking of Clubhouse is because it's a voice forum. So what if we brought you to do a room with other product managers and aspiring product managers who want to learn from you? And we do table topics and other practices. So these are some of the channels that we're looking to introduce. And here's a bonus. If you are interested in a pet project or you want to help us grow, please join us in this journey. You can take up a particular project and spread the word, because ultimately we are a community that grows together. What we hope to do is, through our camaraderie, boost each other up so that we all grow together through the opportunities that we get. Thank you so much, Toastmasters. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak.
And Visha, well done. Everyone, feel free to give a digital hand clap for Anvisha. And just to let you know, we are doing things a little bit differently here. We are going to open it up for 1 minute for Q&A. In addition, that'll also be that minute for our evaluators to gather their thoughts and put down their feedback. With that being said, Sarah, if you are ready to go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock for a little open Q&A there. And if you don't feel comfortable asking a question on the fly, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat. And I'm hoping Anvisha will get to it as soon as she can.
Anvisha, this is Richu here. First, I just want to start with saying this was an absolutely relevant topic, and your storytelling throughout the speaking was hitting the nail at its head. So thank you for that. I have a very specific follow-up question. So one is where people invent and reinvent themselves and find out who they are. And then there is product management, or maybe a certain specific career path that they're on. How do they find the merger or that middle cross paths of the two if they don't happen to be if they happen to be parallel and not exactly intersecting? I think that's very specific to personal branding, right? It's still very relevant to the topic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a very interesting topic, because the question is, say, for example, if I'm already established in a different field, how do I bring it together, sort of a thing? This is where I believe we all kind of perceive, or our talents or what we produce are always a product, whether I'm wearing the title of product management or not. So what I would advise is that even if I'm going into an interview as a product manager, but I have a social media presence as kind of like career guru, there's nothing wrong with it, because that is the product that I'm bringing in. So as a channel, if that's what you want to highlight and slowly build, your speeches do not need to be about product management, right? Or it's about taking a product and driving that. If you're able to establish that, even that becomes part of the interview process when you talk to the interviewer. That you took, say, for example, your career as a product. You took, for example, your channel as a product. So I don't think they need to be parallel. It's just about perceiving everything as a product at the end of the day.
Thank you, Anvisha. I see Sarah's red light.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That's quite all right. Thank you. All right. Before we move on, we are actually pretty much rocking it today on time. So if we need to go a little bit further in the Q&A session, that's okay, especially if they're really, really good questions, along with the speeches that we're experiencing this afternoon. And let's keep on moving here to our next speaker, Miss Sheena Brockington. Sheena Brockington is a Baltimore-based marketing consultant for health, wellness, lifestyle brands, and a product manager of a mindfulness startup. When she's off the cushion and out of the office, Sheena enjoys restorative yoga, sips of champagne, don't we all, redecorating corners of her house, playing with her dogs, and volunteering. And today, Sheena's title is Pause with Purpose. Sheena, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Madam Toastmaster, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to introduce myself to the group today. My family and friends know me best as proud aunt to many, including the latest addition to my family, my 8-month-old grandnephew, Adrian. He can't quite say my name yet, but we are definitely working on it. I'm Sheena Brockington. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm greeting you from Baltimore, Maryland, also known as the ancestral land of the Piscataway people. I've spent the past 10 years in direct-to-consumer marketing and recently made the switch into product management. I'm dipping my toes in the water as a product manager at an early stage mindfulness startup based in New York. I'm also a mindfulness facilitator and meditation teacher. I joined Toastmasters to enhance my public speaking and leadership skills. Both are extremely important to me as I continue to build my personal brand. Mindfulness is also a part of my brand. I define mindfulness as paying attention on purpose to what's happening in the present moment without any judgment. Practicing mindfulness helps me add some calm to my day, especially at work. I weave mindfulness into my workday by taking purposeful pauses. And you can think of a purposeful pause as a small break in the day to just focus on the present moment. And there are countless ways you can take a purposeful pause. And today, I want to share 3 things that I practice with you. So purposeful pause number 1. When I run a meeting or host a meeting, I open the meeting by inviting everyone to take a moment to direct their attention to their breath, sometimes for 15 seconds, sometimes for 30 seconds. This pause helps people release what happened right before they walked into the meeting. It helps them to take a moment to settle in and arrive at the present moment together. This practice also helps the group start to build camaraderie. The second purposeful pause I do on my own instead of doing it with a group of coworkers. And that purposeful pause is mindful journaling at the end of the workday. I take 5 minutes to write uninterrupted. I either note what comes to mind at the moment, or I use a prompt like, how did you help your team today? Or what surprised you today? Or what did you learn today? And doing this really helps me to reflect on the day and be present in my experience and in my feelings. And the third purposeful pause that I want to talk to you about today is one that I hope you will try with me. It's 5-finger breathing. And I do this by using my hand and my finger to direct my breath. And this technique helps me to regulate my nervous system, and it brings me into the present moment. Now, this is a practice I do in between meetings or when I hit that midday slump, or to be honest with you, I do it sometimes before I reply to a challenging email. And so to do this practice, you can use your hand and then use your index finger on the other hand. And I do want to invite you to do this with me. And you can either use your hands or you can actually visualize as you do this practice. So first, I take my index finger and place it on my wrist, starting at the side closest to my thumb. And then I inhale while slowly moving my index finger up along the side of my thumb. It's almost as if you're tracing your hand. And then when I reach the very top, I pause just for a moment. And then I continue down my finger, exhaling slowly. And I do this practice like all the way, tracing my entire hand until I get over to this side of my pinky. And then the practice is complete. And after this practice, my body usually feels relaxed and I feel ready to move to my next task in the day. And I have to tell you that even my 8-month-old nephew really enjoys seeing me do the 5-finger practice. He gets a kick out of seeing me trace my hands. Each of the 3 purposeful pauses I shared today take 5 minutes or less. Taking a moment to take a breath before a meeting begins, reflective mindful journaling, and 5-finger breathing has helped me incorporate mindfulness into my personal brand and my workday. In addition, these techniques help me improve decision-making, interactions with colleagues, and reduce my overall stress. Now take a moment to think about your workday. Are there moments when you feel overwhelmed, low on energy, or a bit unfocused? Now consider how adding a purposeful pause might add a little ease to your workday and offer you a little bit of mindfulness. Thank you all so much for your time. I hope you find your very own way to add a purposeful pause to your day. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Sheena, for that amazing mindful moment there. Everyone, feel free to give Sheena some digital claps. As before, if you have any questions for Sheena, we'll go ahead and open it up. Also, for our evaluator, just give you a minute as well to collect your thoughts, but I'm going to go ahead, Sarah, and open it up for 1 minute to go ahead and do that. Feel free to ask Sheena any questions you have. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you're also more than welcome to put your questions in the chat.
I have a question. Sheena, I'm wondering, there are a lot of mindfulness teachers out there. Are there anybody that you follow in particular that you enjoy?
So the teacher who I follow, not specifically mindfulness, but they are a Buddhist practitioner and a meditation teacher. So it weaves in together a bit. Dr. Shante Paradigm Smalls is a teacher who I follow really closely, and I participate pretty often in weekly Dharma gathering where they are the co-founder. And I can drop a link in the chat if that's helpful for anyone.
Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you for your question.
All right, ladies, do we have any final questions for Sheena?
Do you have a formula for self-restraint when you feel really angry on someone, especially at workplace?
I just breathe, honestly. I don't have any technique other than just like breathing. I really just try to make myself like take deep breaths before I respond to people, even in email, because sometimes it's like you have that rush to just, you know, quickly respond and you don't always say the nicest thing.
Great. Thank you, ladies, for your questions. Sheena, beautiful job on your speech. We are going to go ahead and bookend our speeches today with Manal Patel, and she is going to be talking with us about personalizing her personal brand. Manal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Following some really great speeches today, I'm excited for the opportunity to give my icebreaker speech today on the topic of personal brand. The title of my icebreaker speech is Personalizing My Personal Brand. To set the scene for my journey towards developing my personal brand, I would like to start with a quote I recently found. A fashion designer, entrepreneur, and artist who goes by the name Mark Echo once said, "You too are a brand, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not." To me, my personal brand is a combination of the perception others have of me, especially those I've built camaraderie with, and the perception I have of myself. I do believe there are many dimensions to a personal brand, but for this speech, I would like to focus on the dimension associated with career. Let me start by telling you a short story about my career path. I still remember the time when I had to decide my major for college applications. What a daunting decision that was. At that time, I felt like one decision was going to define the rest of my life. I spent hours and days thinking and rethinking about what my major was going to be. As many Indian parents, mine wanted me to be either a doctor or an engineer. My mother, being as creative and clever as she is, recommended biomedical engineering. Being undecided myself, I ended up following her recommendation. Following that path, it eventually led me to pursue grad school and become a researcher. When I finished my education and was ready to enter the industry, I quickly realized that no one really knew what a biomedical engineer was. As a result, no one really wanted to hire one, and the job opportunities were very limited. This led me to pivot my career more towards software engineering. So, why is this story important, and why is it relevant to the topic of personal brand? It is important and relevant because now I stand here, metaphorically speaking, before you as an aspiring product manager. Now, whether I like it or not, I have come to realize that I have built a personal brand. I face this realization in two ways. One, my resume clearly personifies me as a research and development engineer. And two, I've come to identify myself as a research and development engineer. As I continue my journey towards becoming a product manager, I'm learning how to more consciously modify my personal brand externally and internally. As I'm just starting to learn how to do this, I don't have any concrete techniques to share with you today. However, I would like to share two lessons learned. The first lesson learned is that it is beneficial to keep track of our personal brands as we build our careers. And the second lesson learned is that it is possible to consciously modify our personal brands if and as needed. If I were to go back in time and give advice to the younger version of me trying to decide her major for college, I would tell her that it is important, but not a life-defining decision. I would advise her to choose a major that resonates with her in that moment and have a long-term plan to grow her career in that direction. Above all, though, I would make sure she understands that it's possible to redefine herself as she grows and evolves. I'd like to thank all of you for listening and giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and give, a digital round of applause for Manal and her speech. And as before, we're going to go ahead and open it up for a minute or so and let our evaluator gather their thoughts, but also open it up to you guys to give some Q&A over to Manal. So Sarah, if you're ready, go ahead and put a minute up on the clock. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up to everyone to give any questions to Manal.
I'll kick us off. So Manal, that is an impactful story and so amazing. I also don't know what a biomedical engineer or researcher does either. So that was cool that you called that out. I'm curious on what brought you into product management from software engineering. Like what really makes you want to make that transition as well?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So my process has been, I'm fairly very detail oriented, which led me into software engineering, and it has been great. but I have been introduced a little bit to project management, and it gave me a bigger picture perspective of why we do things. And that slowly led me to product management through a suggestion of a friend, actually. And that has been really eye-opening on just, learning about product management. I feel like it helps me improve as an engineer also. And I'm very excited to be trying to get into the field.
Thank you, Lori, for that question. And it looks like we are pretty much out of questions. However, if anyone wants to reach out to our speakers and ask any further questions, more than welcome to, and I'm sure they will be more than happy to answer as well. Without further ado, we are going to go ahead and keep on plugging forward and go ahead and jump on into our table topics. And I've been buzzing about this. I feel like Erica has been buzzing about this. I'm going to go ahead and give her the floor as our table topics master for today.
Hi, everybody. I hope you've been enjoying the speeches for today as much as I have. I am going to take a moment and pause and remind everybody about the word of the day, camaraderie, and remind you to try to work them into your speeches today, your table topic speeches. And before we start, as we learned from Sheena, we'll take a purposeful pause because table topics can sometimes make us nervous. And that's okay. We're all here to practice. So take a deep breath and don't be too scared. So we've talked about so many different strategies, from using social media to broadcast your brand, to developing your brand here as part of your Toastmasters experience. And the first question of today is, Ashley started us off by mentioning how important confidence was to boosting your personal brand. And she used an example from Queer Eye. Can you share with us an experience that helped you boost your confidence and how that impacted your personal brand? And I am going to ask Marguerite, do you mind answering that for us today?
Sure. I can definitely, thank you, Erica. I can definitely relate to having to work on my confidence in order to boost my personal brand. I can think of an occasion where I've been in a meeting, a sort of large design review meeting, discussing decisions that I've made along with the product designer, and with the CEO. And I would, if someone in power or leadership disagreed with me, I would often back down or say thank you and say I'll think about that. But there's one time I decided to the first time I decided to push back when I disagreed with the feedback. I was a bit nervous, but I used the approach of asking a question as to, saying, why do you, think we, made the wrong, decision, or why do you think this is a better direction? And that changed, my perception of myself, and also the CEOs and the other folks on the team's perception of me. And they saw me as a sort of a stronger contributor to the team and reached out to me for more questions and for my opinions on perspectives, because I didn't back down from my perspective in the meeting. And that was confidence, so it gave me some confidence that I built on for future discussions.
Thank you, Marguerite. That was a beautiful answer. Just how impactful it is. It's like when we find our voice and share it with others. Thank you for that. Okay, today's Today's next question is, Anisha revealed some exciting strategies that she'll spearhead with the goals of helping members build their personal brands. What strategy are you most excited about? Using LinkedIn, maybe Clubhouse? And I'm going to call on Kirsten. Kirsten, would you mind letting us know what you're excited about?
What I'm excited about in regards to building personal brand.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I hope this answer builds camaraderie with everybody here from Women in Product. I think part of the reality, personal brand is a perception, but I'm a big fan of reality. So I really think your brand will follow who you are. So I would actually strongly encourage folks to be themselves more, to work on the products that they're particularly excited and passionate about, to fight for the users in every chance that you get, to fight for your investors too, make sure good returns are going back to them, and have fun with what you're doing. Ultimately, if you're building products that you're super excited about, you're going to be a much more amazing product manager than maybe even you are today. And I think that's what's going to change the reality of your personal brand. If it's something that you're not crazy about today, just work on what it is you want to work on. It will give back, it will change who you are, and then, you know, perception will follow that reality, and your brand will become what you want to make of it. Regardless of postings on anywhere, changing that reality is what I would focus on, and highly recommend to the rest of my peers here at Women in Product. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you so much for that question. Once you find your passion and your heart's so happy, your brand will follow. It's very true. Thank you so much. Okay, our next question is, Mino talked about managing both internal and external brands, which I think was really fascinating. If you've managed a pivot, say bioengineering to product manager, can you talk about challenges that you experienced in terms of internal branding? And I am going to call on Betty.
Thank you, Erica, for nominating me for this question. Do you mind repeating the question one more time?
Sure. If you have managed a pivot, can you talk about a challenge that you experienced in terms of internal branding?
That's a great question. So I actually graduated college with a public health degree. And when I was looking into going to tech and project management, I had to build that confidence within myself to align myself with those roles. So I truly believe that whatever you're trying to pivot into, whether it be opening a side business or becoming an entrepreneur, to really align with your purpose and your passion, you really have to believe in yourself and believe in that you can get there. And when I first graduated, I didn't know if I even had the capabilities or the experience to even pivot into project management or tech. And over time, I took it upon myself to educate myself on resources, talk to people in the industry that I wanted to get into in order to pivot into that role. And it's not going to be an overnight process, but really doing something every day to get yourself there is going to be what's key. And something I learned is that even if you got 1% better every day, just maybe reading an article or doing something that's more in line with what you want to do, you're going to be, you're going to make strides by the end of the year, right? With 360 days in a year, 1% better by the end of the year, it's going to be 360% better. So that's really what I truly believe in, is aligning yourself with your goals and believing yourself, and also trying a little bit every day or every so often, and eventually you'll get there.
Thank you so much, Betty. That's a great reminder. 1% every day. All right, the next question I have is, Simon Sinek in his TED Talk, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, stated, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody that needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. As you are building your personal brand, what is one message about why you do what you do that you could share with the world to help attract people that believe what you believe to your personal brand? And I am going to ask Elizabeth, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Yeah. So I love that quote from Simon Sinek. To inspire others to believe what you believe, especially when you're building your personal brand. Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about this and trying to reflect on, what really matters most to me. And as I go through my career and I build my career, and I've realized that it's really so important to align your career and the actions that you're taking to get to your next career goal with, what you want to achieve and the impact that you want to have in the world. So, for me, I've really realized that I'm most passionate about working on, products in the sustainability space or in the health tech space, or any space really that can help improve difficult situations. And so, so anyway, all of that is to say that I think, finding what you're passionate about, what impact you want to have, and then figuring out how to align your career with that has been a great revelation for me and something that I'm working towards every day.
Thank you so much for that answer, Elizabeth. Our next question is, Jeff Bezos says, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Looking towards the future, what do you dream of others saying about you when you are not in the room? And I am going to ask Shirisha, would you like to answer that?
Oh, I didn't see this coming. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, definitely. So, right, like I'm also an aspiring product manager, and I always find myself struggling with who I am and how people perceive me. So I always I get into this vicious cycle of pleasing everyone. So I have to make a habit of not doing so. But definitely, I feel like, when I walk out of the room, if I feel like, it has to come within. If you are comfortable with you, who you are, I feel like, I also I forgot the name of the person who talked about reality, right? So the reality will stick with you, and pretension won't. So I feel like, I have to first of all build my confidence, build my personal branding to a level where it should come as a natural thing, not like, I'm trying to please someone or trying to put up a show. So when I walk out of the room, and I feel like, people should talk about how honest I am and how inspiring I am, and I always want to keep whoever I work with me, I want them to be happy working with me and looking forward to working with me. So I feel like, that, I mean, any achievements, accomplishments, that's a good thing. But at a very basic foundation level, I want people to enjoy or, look forward to working with me. So that is what I strive for. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. This is my first, I think. I don't know how I did, but this is scary.
You did beautifully. You did beautifully. Thank you for
Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much. My next question is, in an article published on Forbes titled "How to Define Your Niche and Your Personal Brand," Adrian Fisher states the following: when entrepreneurs love what they do, it shows. He goes on to list 6 ways to carve out a niche for your brand. These include: identify passions and interests, be authentic, become a recognized expert, define an ideal customer, research the competition, and start a social media group. Which one of these steps do you feel you would benefit from the most in this year, and how do you plan to approach it? So I'm going to call on Amelia. Would you like to answer?
Thank you so much. Erica, do you mind repeating the recommendations?
Sure. Identify passions and interests, be authentic, become a recognized expert, define an ideal customer, research the competition, and start a social media group.
Great. I think out of these recommendations, starting a social media group sounds really interesting to me, and I think is a really great way to build camaraderie amongst other folks like me in the industry and really learn so much from them. I see Women in Product, the Toastmasters group, as something similar to that. I think coming into this, building confidence, learning so much from others around me, really focusing on the skills that I want to improve, whether that's public speaking, whether that's finding other assets in my PM toolkit, so to speak. That is really something that I can learn from others and really leverage from having a group of individuals that I can turn to and really build mentorship from. And I don't think that's something that's easy to be done in a bubble alone. And so I think finding a social media group, finding really any kind of group of individuals that think similarly to you and share similar goals can be a really great way to build confidence and really get to where you'd like to be.
Thank you so much for that answer. Yeah, that's why we're all here, to help each other grow and to learn as individuals. And that was a beautiful answer. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, we got a lot of time left. All right. Question number 4. Building a personal brand is the first step of effective networking. Networking consists of personal branding, preparation, taking action, and maintenance. When preparing to network, you have to create essential tools such as a resume, business card, elevator pitch, and social media platforms. What have you learned while preparing these tools for yourself that you would like to share with someone just starting out? And I'm going to ask Lori if she would like to answer that question.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I had a feeling you might ask me that because I was the VP of PR last year before Anwaisha took it over. So one thing that I learned last year is how hard it is to actually drive engagement on a post. Some of you, I think, mentioned that you're marketing people. Bless you and bless those skills you have to get people to respond to a Facebook post. If you've ever looked in the Women in Product Facebook group, which we'll have a link out later, you'll just see like a million posts from me, and like some people like them, somebody might comment on them, but no one else really posted in that group. And it is so hard to get people to actually like join in and create this community. So this is also a call out to everybody here to join in and help give Anwaisha some of that as well. But I think that's the hardest thing that I learned is, you know, you can create, it's really easy to create a page. It's very hard to get people to engage in the content that you're actually producing and you actually want them to. So my pro tip for that is be creative, try different things, ask questions, use different forms of media, whether it's pictures or GIFs or videos, and give Anwaisha some love on our Facebook page. And if you have questions for the group, post them in there and have them join us, answer them. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Lori. Yes, be creative and show some love. I love it. Okay, I think we have a lot of time left. Let's see. My last question I have prepared is that there are many influencers in the world. It's almost impossible to know who to follow. There are so many. If you were to recommend one influencer to the club whose brand you really connect with, who would that be? What is it about their brand that you love? And Meghana, would you like to answer that?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Madam Table Topics, for giving me this opportunity. I guess it is a perfectly timed question because I am right now obsessed with Steve Jobs. He is not an influencer who is existing right now, but probably has influence over most of the things we do. And my journey started with not liking Steve Jobs as a person and not believing that what he has out in the world is originally his, and it's basically taken from other people and presented in a manner that's appealing. However, and I have a background of working as a consultant with Apple, so you can imagine. And recently, my perception changed about him while working as a product manager. I was struggling with how to be creative. How are these successful companies successful, and how do these people come up with innovative ideas? And that's when I started following what makes Steve Jobs great, really. I think Steve Jobs is one person who might have taken ideas from other people's head, but he sure knew how to create a vision about it and how to convey that vision, communicate his perception, or create a distorted reality, augmented reality or distorted reality, and put it in front of other people and make them believe in his vision and build that camaraderie amongst his team members, and like drive the innovation forward, or create beautiful things that helps humanity. There were so many aspects to him, so I would really recommend reading the biography on Steve Jobs. There were so many flaws in that man, but I mean, what he has presented to the world is way more ahead than his flaws, I guess. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Yes, thank you for being willing to share today. I'm definitely going to check out his bio. Let me see. 2:06. We have time for one more question, and I'm winging it. I'm doing my own table topics because I don't have any more questions. Okay, can you share with us one thing that you are doing currently to work on your personal brand, and what are your plans for that, and how are you going to approach it? I'm going to call on Olena.
Thank you, Erica, for that question. Actually, I think everyone in this group can relate to what we're actually doing in order to build our personal brand. And one of the steps that I've taken back in November of 2020, I joined the Toastmasters Club, because building camaraderie is basically impossible without communication skills in product management world and pretty much any other world, because we're all must communicate whether we like it or not. And I must admit, this group really helped me, as being a non-native speaker can be challenging and sometimes nerve-wracking when delivering a speech. However, this group really helped me to open up with all the feedback that I received, with all the support that I received from you. And that's why I'm going to keep showing up every other Sunday, being here and building my personal brand with all your help. Another challenge that I've taken, I was the VP of education for this group for a while. Again, just kind of found me from nowhere. Erica reached out and I took on the opportunity. And it was a fantastic experience, building relationships with people who are on this call, as well as digging deeper inside into my own self, and actually discovering some skills that I didn't know I have. So thank you for that. Thank you for your patience and actually your tremendous support in this. Thank you. Back to you, Erica.
Thank you for sharing that. It was a pleasure getting to work so closely with you when you were VPE, and yay for discovering things that we didn't know about ourselves. All right, I am done for That's table topics for today. We are done at exactly 2:09. How about that timing? And I'm going to hand it back to our Toastmaster for the day with the mostest, Ashley.
Thank you, Erica. Can everyone please give her a round of applause, digital applause, physical applause, whatever works. She did a phenomenal job. And in addition to Erica doing a great job, we also do have Dorothy, who is our vote counter. And we had some amazing questions, actually total of 9 is what I counted so far. I am going to go ahead and put all of those responses in the chat window, since we had so many people respond and those answers were absolutely lovely and brilliant. I will have to say this has been the most wholesome Toastmaster meeting we've had, and the sheer amount of camaraderie that we're building on has been absolutely phenomenal. And we do have some time to squeeze that word of the day in if you haven't already. So please try and do that if you haven't. But without further ado, we want to go ahead and move right on into our evaluations. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and hand it on over to Tanya Sobolnik.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. We're going to do the evaluations of the speeches now. So for Anwisha's first, this was her first speech, so she's done an icebreaker and her first speech, and her evaluator is Svetlana. Svetlana, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so excited to be giving this evaluation to Anwisha. First of all, I love hearing Anwisha speak. She is always just pure joy and inspiration, and you get me so excited about just about any topic that I have heard you cover so far. I thought you excelled at telling a very engaging story. You have a very conversational style that brings the audience in. And so it's a style that I think I also prefer. So for me, it's the best kind of speaker is someone that I feel I'm in conversation with, and I find myself shaking my head, right, enthusiastically. It was also a very interesting topic, right? So I thought you had some really interesting thoughts that you shared. I would say that you may want to work on maybe restructuring your speech a little bit, in the sense that I noticed that you spent quite a lot of time positioning what your take on a personal brand is, right? So you explained what it is and how you think about it. And then you left only the last, less than a third of the time to actually go through the different ideas and proposals about how you want us to take away how the Women in Product Toastmasters Club can actually help you build your personal brand. And your focus was on sort of future strategies. And I think to the point in the question that I saw in chat from Sirisha, I think maybe you would benefit from spending less time on what it is. You should definitely still have that component, but maybe just briefer. And then spend a little more time actually maybe defining some of what you're talking about in simpler terms, and giving some actionable sort of takeaways for like what is it, what's the first step, what are some basic things that one can do, and then move into some of the strategies and big ideas and vision that you've been developing for our club moving forward. But overall, I mean, great job. Your energy is always so good and so fun and engaging to listen to. You have great vocal variety. You made great eye contact. I know you were referencing notes, but you were speaking to us, which I thought was great. Your gestures are always very entertaining, and again, it's just the word that comes to mind is engaging. And so thank you so much for your speech. And those are my comments.
Thank you, Svetlana. All right, so now I would like to invite Sam to provide her evaluation of Sheena's icebreaker speech. Go ahead, Sam.
Thank you for the intro, General Evaluator. Sheena, what an excellent icebreaker speech. This was such a pleasure to listen to. I think everyone on the call really enjoyed the topic, how you tie your experience and knowledge and breathing and meditation into your own personal story and your personal brand. And I think we all had a big
moment, a lot of camaraderie in listening to what you had to say. So I'm going to use a tactic that was common in my last Toastmasters Club. I'm going to structure your evaluation in an acronym, and the acronym is PAUSE. So the first letter of PAUSE is P, and that's for purpose. Great topic. I think the purpose of your speech, not only to communicate who you are as a person, but also to talk about something that we all find value in, is excellent. Next letter is A for awareness. You set a really good tone at the beginning of your speech. You made a connection to your personal life and story with your family members and how your experience in breathing and mindfulness has made an impact on people that you know and love, which was a great way to introduce the topic. Next is U, which is useful. As I mentioned, the topic was something that we were all able to listen to, really engage with, and then take away something that we can then use moving forward. Next is S, and that's for speaking. You had a really great tone of voice throughout your speech, very calm, very engaging. I think everyone else was able to lean in and really listen to what you were saying, which you did a really great job in doing. And then lastly, E is for empowering. I always love it when I hear speeches from women in this group and they give something for us to try later on, as I mentioned, but really good key takeaways that I think we can all use later on, especially myself. I definitely need those breathing exercises when I'm responding to Slack sometimes. So I appreciated it. Really, really great icebreaker. Again, Sheena, one area of note is maybe increasing your vocal variety when giving your speech. You've hit that really great calming tone that's easy to listen to. I think that everyone really appreciates, but just adding some of that variety in there, some enthusiasm when you're talking about all of your experience in your work and breathing and mindfulness, infusing some of that passion into your vocal variety, one thing to think on. And this isn't really an area of note, it's more so a request. I would love to hear about how you have used all these skills in your experience in product management and your work at your startup. And I'm really looking forward to hearing you speak again. So thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Sam. All right, our last evaluation is of Minal's icebreaker, and I'd like to invite Olena to give her evaluation.
Thank you, Tanya. I have my notes here. And now, first of all, congratulations on your icebreaker. I know first speech can be a bit nerve-wracking, but you did a wonderful job. So I like how you started your speech with a quote. I think it really set up the tone on what you're going to be talking about. I really enjoyed that. I also loved how you embedded your personal story. You started with it. I think it helped us all build a connection with you and for you to build the connection with the audience as well. Bringing some personal stories into your speech is always beneficial. I really liked the pace of your speech. It wasn't too fast. It wasn't too slow. I think it was very, very good. Something I want to challenge you for is try to establish the eye contact with the audience. I know it's a little tricky with Zoom because you're looking at the camera. Are you looking at yourself? What's supposed to happen? But maybe rely on your notes a bit less and try to engage with the audience a little bit more. It does make a huge difference when you try to maintain the eye contact. I really enjoyed the structure of your speech. Again, the beginning, then you transition to personal story. Then there was again, you did number one, number two. That was very great and easy to follow. And I also enjoyed how you connected the end of the story to the beginning, how you asked yourself a question and actually gave yourself an advice in the end of your speech. However, I suggest you work on the conclusion a little bit more for your next speech, because in the end, I was honestly looking forward to hearing some takeaways, or maybe you could wrap up your speech with So first, as a takeaway, second, third, it really helps to wrap it up and to add on a very high note. And so everyone remembers what you talked about and have something to take with them after you finish. I really liked your transitions, and another topic there. Another thing that I really enjoyed is how you kept the audience engaged by asking a question. You were asking, so why is it important? Because you talked about your personal, your major and everything, and then you were, so why is it important? And then you gave an answer. I think it really brings the audience in. So keep on with that. It's a great technique to use during your speech. And again, congratulations on the wonderful icebreaker, and good luck with your second speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, now we're going to move on. Well, I want to thank the whole evaluation team. Those were very thoughtful evaluations. So thank you guys. It was a great job. We're going to move on to our grammarian, Melissa. So she's been paying attention to all of the speakers, taking note of language usage. She's also provided us with the awesome word of the day, camaraderie. So Melissa, what did you observe as our grammarian today?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Great. I'm really happy to report that almost every speaker here used the word camaraderie. So you all did an excellent job. Specifically, round of applause. Thank you for using the word. Specifically, the folks that I counted were Sarah, Anwisha. Anwisha actually used it twice. We have Sheena, Minal, Kirsten, Amulya, Meghana, Elena, Ashley, and Sam. If I missed you and you did say that word, I apologize, but you get credit because, again, almost everybody used camaraderie. And that is my report for the day. I'm going to hand it back to, is it the evaluator or our Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster?
Back to me. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
All right. So Sarah, you've been keeping track of the time for the table topic speakers and the speeches and the questions. You had a lot to do today and the evaluations. So how did we do?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. We did really well. I think there was a lot of collaboration behind the scenes. Our prepared speeches, Anwisha, you came in at 6 minutes, 46 seconds, so you were within time. There was a QA following that was just slightly over 2 minutes. Sheena, your speech came in at 5 minutes, 43 seconds. You were within time. There was a Q&A of 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Minal, you were just short of hitting the minimum time requirement. So you came in at 3 minutes and 57 seconds. So in the future, if you want to just make sure you elongate something so you can hit that green card. Our QA session was 1 minute, 39 seconds. Our table topics, everyone was within time. Our evaluations, Svetlana, my apologies. I hit the wrong video for table topics instead of evaluator, and then I realized it. So then I started doing some quick math. But you came in within time, approximately 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Sam, your evaluation came in at 3 minutes, 16 seconds. And Elena, your evaluation came in at 2 minutes, 31 seconds. So we did really, really well regarding timing. Madam General Evaluator, back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we're going to move on to Jennifer. She's been keeping track of our filler words, our repeats, and our crutch actions that we use when we speak. How do we do today, Jennifer?
All right, I've got a really thorough report. All right, so Erica, you had 1 and over 6 ums. Ashley, you had 1 and over 6 ums, but you also did quite a bit of speaking today. You had 1 so, 2 buts, and kinda. You had 3 of those. Tanya, you had 1 and 5 ums, 1 so. Sam, you had 2 ums. Melissa, you had 5 ums. Sarah, you had 4 ahs and over 6 ums, followed on by 3 so's. Jyoti, you had nothing. Congratulations. Amy, you also had nothing. And Waisha, you had 3 ahs and over 6 ums. You also had 1 so and 1 like. Sheena, you had 1 so and 1 like. Manal, you had 2 ums. Marguerite, you had 4 ahs and 2 you knows. Kristen, you had 1 ah, 2 ums. Betty, you had 1 ah and 3 ums, along with 2 you knows. Elizabeth, you had 2 ums and 3 you knows and 3 ands. Let's see. Sarisha, you had 1 ah and 4 ums and 3 you knows. And I might be butchering your name, but Amulea, I think you had 4 ums and that's it. Lori, you had 2 ums and 1 so. Elena, you had 4 ahs and more than 6 ums. And then Svetlana, you had more than 6 ahs and 5 ums and 1 you know. So this report is all within our folder for this meeting. If you guys want to look back at all of your own statistics for this meeting, but again, the ah counter purpose is just to make ourselves a little bit more aware of our filler words, so we can all improve with our own speaking. I didn't count myself. It would be terrible to see what I ended up saying, but there you go. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jennifer. I just saw Lori's chat and she's down 1 so from the last time. So it's great that we're keeping this data. That's what I do in my job is data. So data is my jam. Love that. So now it's my turn to give my general evaluation of the meeting. Starting at the top, we started right on time. Amy, your transitions for the pinning the speakers and the timers has been on point, very technically smooth. When I was like the grammarian, when you guys were explaining what you do. So Melissa, I thought you were very prepared. Your camaraderie is a very thoughtful word. You really thought about the theme. You tied it to this club and being a product manager. So that was really great. Thank you very much for that. Sarah, you jumped in and used the word of the day right off the bat when you were giving your introduction. So I thought that was very clever. When you were giving your introduction to the timer, you were flashing the colors behind you, and that I thought that was a great touch. It really brought it home. And then your timing skills were on point. We have so many different sections now, and so many some folks are doing icebreakers, some are doing they're further along, and so you have to keep track of both different times. So you did a great job. Thank you very much. Jennifer, as always, very prepared, great explanation. I love how you, when you're giving your explanation, you made it more relatable than what's in the script. So I think as we get more used to our roles, we become more relaxed, and that shows through. Erica, so multitasking today, and thank you for that. As usual, you were very prepared. I know you were super excited for this topic, and it showed. Your preparation was stellar as always. Reminder to use the word of the day was good, especially for those of us when you're starting your topics, your table topics. You reminded us about the word of the day, and then which for me, table topics is a source of stress. And so when you reminded me about the word of the day, it brings you back to that. Your questions were on point with the theme of the day, and reflecting on the speeches of everyone's speeches to introduce your questions was a really nice touch. I really like that a lot. you had a lot of questions, but it was good because you were very cognizant of the time. But there was one point where you said, and question 4, but you're actually at question 9, which I thought was, or question 8, which I thought was funny. And then I just wanted to call out Marguerite, Kristen, Betty, Elizabeth, Sarisha, Amelia, Lori, Megana, and Elena for all of your answers. You guys did a great job. We are getting so much better at our table topics. Okay, Toastmaster. Congrats. All the roles were filled on time. Even at the last minute, you were, dealing with stuff on email up until we started. So thank you for that, keeping it cool. You were very clearly very prepared. You were able to pivot really smoothly. And an example of that was when you introduced me. I'm a first-time general evaluator, and I didn't introduce my own evaluation team. And you took that in stride and you filled in for my gap. And that was fantastic. So thank you for that. You suggested asking questions in the chat as a good option, because 1 minute really isn't enough, and maybe some folks, they just want to take it offline. So I thought that was a great idea to ask questions in chat. You were in tune with the timing, so suggesting being able to extend Q&A if needed. It was good, to keep us adaptable. And in summary, I think I believe this was your first time as Toastmaster, but you would never know it. You were very relaxed and welcoming, and you did a really fantastic job. So everybody, round of applause. We had a great meeting. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Tanya. And yes, it is my first time to host. I can tell you, I no longer have any nerves right now as we've gone through the majority of our agenda, but I do want to take a moment and say thank you to everyone who was incredibly nimble and jumping in and taking action in roles today, and also our evaluators giving such thorough explanation to not only myself, but everyone involved in today's meeting. It has been incredibly wholesome. I have learned quite a bit from our speakers today as well, and it's just been really fun. So thank you guys for allowing me to be Toastmaster for today. It's been super sweet. Before we go any further, I do want to have a moment and hear from our vote counter, Joythi, to find out who exactly won with the best response. So Joythi, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Table topics is one of my favorite segments of the Toastmasters meeting. And I really enjoy that it allows people to share their experiences and speak about their values and their beliefs, and not actually give them a chance to prepare or polish their speeches. It's a very tough competition today. If you had to vote and if you felt it very difficult to pick one, I totally empathize with you. And the vote goes to Kristen. The winner is Kristen for today's tables topics.
Yay, fantastic. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy your bragging rights for having the best response for today, Kirsten. We are bringing our meeting here to a close. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask Lori to give us any last minute thoughts, words, as we wrap up our meeting today.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And I do acknowledge we are just a couple minutes over time, so we're going to rapid fire this so we can get out of here and on with our Sunday. So I have a couple of announcements first. First, I want to thank everyone who has signed up for a pathway. We only have 2 members who are newish that still need to sign up, but I think we are on our way to accomplish our goal of having everyone signed up for a pathway by September. So great job. Second, today we're going to do a Q&A session after this meeting. So if you have any questions, whether you're a guest or a member, we'll be here to answer them. After our next meeting on the 22nd, we will be holding a pathways training. So if you need to understand what they are, how they work, or have any questions around those, join us on the 22nd and we will go through all of that after the meeting. Last but not least, congratulations to Amy Kirkland for completing level 1 in her pathway. if you've given a speech, please be sure to go back into Basecamp or into your pathway and check that off. It comes over to me and I can make sure that we keep track of all your credits and everything for that. So those are my announcements, but you're probably wondering what role you have next week. In the chat, I just posted the link to the roles. As always, I'll also send out an email that has them all in there and also who doesn't have roles. So if you need somebody to fill your role for you, you can reach out and kind of help the Toastmaster out in filling those roles. The sooner we have confirmations and fill them, the less stress the Toastmaster has, which Ashley got to feel a little bit this week. So do us all a favor and do that. The best way to know what role you have is to actually volunteer for it. So the next link I just shared in the chat is a form. Tell me what role you want to have. That makes everyone's life easier. I'll try to accommodate that as much as we can. But of course, you know, if everyone wants the same role, then I got to do some adjusting to fit you all in there. So with that, I think that is all I have today. We can wrap it up. So I will pass it over to the SSA. Amy, let's get us out of here.
Thanks, Lori, and thanks everyone for a really great meeting today. We learned a lot about personal brand today, and I think it was a really fun meeting. So I'm going to stop the recording and we will be adjourned.